Hey, this is Sasha, and welcome to another episode on Hungry for Returns, where I share with you some answers to trading and investing on the stock market based on my own past successes and failures. So in today's episode, what I want to do is go ahead and take a look at some fundamental analysis things. But of course, if you have any specific questions that you want me to answer, go take a look at our website at tradersfly.com. You can submit a question by writing it in. You can even speak it, and you might be featured on the show. So let's get started here and take a look at this week's question. And that is, hello, Sasha, awesome video as usual. What tools do you use for fundamental data, scanning, filtering, that kind of thing? So it really just depends on, I guess, the type of fundamental data that you want to look at. Typically, I always recommend checking out earnings, making sure that the earnings are beating 20% or more based on the previous earnings, which I've answered in the past. And the reason for that is because sometimes companies are basically trying to hit their earnings by cutting employees, meaning they're firing people, which allows you to cut people and make more money. And that's why 20% is nice, beat to beat from the previous year, because if they only beat it by 5 or 7% or 12%, they could have made that through cutting expenses. So 20% actually could signify a little bit more that the company's actually growing. So if we look at kind of an individual thing to look at, Yahoo Finance is a good starting point for fundamental data. I find it's one of the better websites out there. And of course, I am pre-filming this video to get a few videos ahead, but let's just take a look here at Caterpillar as an example. You can see it comes out. And here's some basic level 1 data: previous close, open, bid, ask, days range, market cap. So this is some interesting stuff, but you also have some other things in here, like, let's say, the financials. So if you look at the financials, here's kind of a income statement in sheet, and you can get, this is the annual, you can look at it at quarterly, and it gives you a little bit of a breakdown. Now, this is kind of a simplistic view, of course. You could look at the balance sheet, you can look at the cash flow, but this is kind of the big picture things that most people want to know. If you want to get into more detail, and let's just say, hey, you are into this stuff and you want to read about it, I would take a look at sec.gov. This is what you need to take a look at if you really want to get into the nitty gritty. And let me just start out with sec.gov right here. You can go to filings, and then here from company filings search, we can go ahead and type in, here's a fast search. Let's just type in Caterpillar again, only because it's nice cat to type in. And here you can get some quick filings. So here's an 8K sheet for the reports. Here's the filing dates that they've had. You have a 10K as well, and 10 to 10Qs. So you have a lot of different documents in there. So basically the 10K, 10Qs, these are all fairly important documents, and you can see some of them are even interactive. So let me just show you what this looks like. There's a lot of stuff in here. Of course, they put in kind of like your logo, which is not something you really need to click on, right? So it's stuff like that that's embedded within that sheet. But overall, here's your 10K. That's kind of the main file. So I'll go ahead and click this, and now you can really hone in and see how long this document is. So if you really want to get into some crazy details, this is where you would find it, because this is the public filings that they have to do. So here's your table of contents, and I'll just do a quick scroll for you. So you can see every company is going to be a little different. So here, this is the construction industries product portfolio. And this is here what they have: skidders and pipe layers and moto graders. Don't even know what that is. There's a lot of things. So you got to know and understand that industry if you want to get into the nitty gritty behind it. They'll talk about a lot of other things: cargo insurance for the worldwide cargo risks, raw materials component. I mean, it's just so many things. And let me just scroll this down. Later on, they'll also talk about full-time employees at 2018. So here you can also see, okay, inside the US, you had 44,000 in 2018. Whereas in 2017, you had 42,000. So you can say, okay, well, they're growing their US employees by about 2,400 per year. They're outside the US, they're growing a little bit quicker, but again, there's more countries out there. And, just gives you a little bit of insight. So they are growing employees a little bit. So you just continue to look through. So here's basically your filings. Again, scrolling down, they got charts and graphs and data. And again, if you really want to read it, this is kind of where you get fundamental data at, the big nitty gritty. That's our 10K. If you want to do like a 10Q, again, you can check out the documents. It's going to be a little bit shorter. So you can see right here, simple. There's also looking at different companies here just to show you a little comparison. Other companies like Apple are going to be a little bit different, right? So here's your 8K, 10Q. So here again, 10Q. Let's take a look. And we'll go here, and just to show you, again, a little bit different quarterly report. There it is. It's telling you what it is. And then you start scrolling down, table of contents, again, a little bit different. And here they give you kind of a chart. Look, they tell you, okay, December 29th, 2018, or December 30th, the 3 months ended in 2017. Ooh, you can see in 2018, the products, what is this, the amount of money they're making? 73,000 compared to 79,000 the previous year. Ooh, that could be going down. So all these things you start looking at, and again, you can get into the numbers and the details here. As specific as you want and you need to. So this is really these fundamental datas, and you just take a cup of coffee, tea, whatever you want, water, and enjoy yourself a nice read. And that's really where you get the data. For me, ultimately, what I tell most people is, looking at estimated or quarterly earning reports is typically what simplifies the process, or even just looking at charts. And that's why I like the charts, because here the lingo is not always understandable. It gets more confusing. Your mind can play tricks. Also, people use different languages as they write this from company to company. So again, just be wary of these kinds of things, and you really got to know and understand the company to make a big investment decision. Otherwise, for the majority of people, buying a simple ETF with a basket of diversified stocks, sometimes it's just a lot easier than worrying and reading and spending hours upon these things. So again, you have to do your own due diligence to figure out if that's worth your time. But in any case, with that being said, that's kind of my personal take on these kinds of fundamental data scanning and filtering. I mean, if you want the fundamental data, that's where it is. That's fundamental data for you. And that's really getting into the heart of it. So I hope this was helpful, gives you some insights. Maybe it's not exactly what you wanted, because there's a lot of stuff and a lot of content there that you have to digest. But that's really where it's all at, and you can read as much as you want, or of course as little as you want, depending on how detailed you want to get. So thank you so much for joining me. If you have a question, be sure to reach out at tradersfly.com. You can submit one by voice or even write one in, and you might be featured on the show. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube if you want to stay up to date on the videos, or get on our newsletter list so that way you get notified as we release new books, courses, products, and free training. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.